Hey guys, this is INTP Rob. Just want to make a quick video to start a conversation about how to calm the mind when you are an introvert and an intuitive. I think this also can apply more broadly in general to most NTs, so rationals, who have intuition and thinking, but I think this is even more prevalent in the mind of the introvert due to their orientation to and their tendency to turn inwards. I think that our minds are so active and they're always moving, and I don't know about you, but for me personally, it can feel physically exhausting. I can literally get physically exhausted just by laying in my bed and just thinking about crazy shit and, worrying about a lot of stuff, thinking about crazy scenarios of the ways things can go bad, or stressing about things that I'm not sure about, or I don't know how they're going to fall out in the future, or kind of how they're going to play out. And I just wanted to start a conversation about, ways and advice to actually try to stop some of that stuff. And I'm not going to act like I'm the only one that knows about this. So if you have something that you've tried that actually works, then please do let me know. But basically, what I would say, I would say if I had to name 3 things that helped me, I think, I'll make it 4 things. So one of the things that is a little bit more obvious, but maybe not, it's easy to overlook, is just try to eliminate as much as many stress factors as you can in your life. And I think you'll be surprised at how these things can add up. Obviously, there's some things that are out of our control, at least in the immediate moment. But sometimes there's little things and this is coming from an INTP, and we have a reputation for being messy. But from what I found is, if I do something as simple as cleaning my room, just so it's I know where everything is. I've gotten rid of all the junk and the messy, piles of crap or whatever that are laying around. Just something as simple as that. I don't think you always realize how much an environment like that might affect you. Now, for INTPs, sometimes we can live with it because we're so much in our heads that we kind of aren't really even paying attention to our environment many times. But what I've found is when my environment is clean, there seems to be kind of this added element of peace that comes from it, because even though my mind may be chaotic, that one thing of having my room clean helps. The other thing, of course, if you have people who are stressing you out in your personal life or at work, to the best extent that you can, you want to try to avoid being around that person if you can. I know it's easier said than done, but, if you're in a toxic work environment, trying to find a new job, things like that, just really trying to eliminate these stress factors. Okay. And second, which is kind of related to that, what I found is sometimes you have to really be honest and identify those things that you can't change, and you just need to find a way to accept it. And this is kind of a saying that I learned from Alan Watts, who I will kind of talk more about later in this video, but he does a great job of kind of sharing some thought that comes from Eastern religions, but to kind of taking the religious element out of it and just kind of observing it for what it is. But one of the things he's good at is really, calling out things like anxiety and worry for what they are. And often these are situations where we're thinking a lot about things that we can't control. And it's just a cyclical, it's a bad cycle, because what ends up happening is you're worrying about something that's, potentially going to happen in the future. You can't control it, so you start worrying about it. Then you notice how much you're worrying, and then you start worrying about how much you worry. And the point is that whether you're worrying or not, like, let's think about it. Let's say you're worrying about some future event and you hate the idea of this thing happening. Well, if it's going to happen, worrying about it is not going to change the fact that it's going to happen or not. I think you have to kind of learn to accept the things that you cannot change, and then, start planning your contingency plan or your fallout plan if something negative is going to take place. Or, you can't just keep worrying about whether something is going to happen or not, because your brain will not rest, because it will be wanting some closure on that thing, but since it's in the future, it won't be able to get the closure. So you might as well just stop worrying about it. Okay. Number 3, and this is semi-related, like I said before, I would look into not only meditation, but understanding some of the kind of Zen Buddhism concepts or Eastern religious concepts and worldviews that are associated with meditation, and kind of feeling at one with nature, so to speak, or at one with one's body. And I don't think, look, this doesn't mean you need to get deep into the religious side of things, but I think it's refreshing, especially if you live in a Western country, to see things from a perspective of, instead of placing yourself at the center of the world and the center of the universe, but rather seeing that there is sort of an interconnectedness between you and everything else. Again, it doesn't need to be super religious. It could be something as simple as, the fact that we all need oxygen, and trees provide oxygen, so we have kind of that loose relationship with plants. And I mean, you guys know how it works. If farmers kill a certain bug in their fields, that'll tend to, have a negative effect on the animals that eat those bugs. And then it's just a chain of events that happens. And more often than not, we end up affected. So it's just kind of being conscious and mindful of your existence and your connection to your body and your connection to the rest of the world. So meditation is big. And then lastly, I would say, which is kind of related to meditation, is I would try to find, I know it's hard to, if you're in a big city, but I would try to find an area that is not as kind of cluttered with buildings and businesses and things like that, but something like, try to find if there are areas that are like more natural, where nature is kind of allowed to do its thing, big parks, forests, areas that are kind of blocked off from the industrial kind of industry. Go there and really just allow yourself to take in the beauty of nature. Like, allow yourself, these things tend to calm the mind, because you're able to kind of sit back and just enjoy the moment and just enjoy being alive. Like, me personally, I live in Los Angeles, and I like going down to the Santa Monica Pier, which looks over out into the kind of Pacific Ocean, but I like to go there at night, because there's something really soothing about, watching the waves, kind of under the moonlight. Things are very quiet, calm, peaceful, and sometimes just that imagery and just being in that environment can really help you to see things clearly, reprioritize things, and realize, like, hey, I don't need to be worried and stressed out about all these things in order to be happy. Like, I can be happy just taking in this moment and being thankful for being alive, counting your blessings. That's something that tends to happen more when you're in these kind of beautiful environments of nature. But those are just my thoughts on, again, how I try to calm my mind. I would love to hear what other people have done to kind of help them calm down, because I can tell you, especially being an introvert with extroverted intuition as my auxiliary, and introverted thinking in the primary slot, I mean, my brain just never stops thinking, and it can be physically tiring, literally physically tiring, to allow my brain to just keep going like that. And sometimes, and maybe this is, as I learn more about the sixth function and how it can be strong even though it's not valued. I feel like as an INTP, with NI being the sixth function, I think that might have some relation as to why I very often feel the need to just, I have this desire to just collapse all my thoughts and ideas onto one central idea. I just want there to be a clear through line in all the chaos that just kind of shows me the path that I need to take, because my brain is thinking about every single possibility in a moment's notice, and it just gets tiring after a while. It just gets tiring. So yeah, I would love to make this a conversation, not just me talking, but would love to see other people comment about if they have tips or advice. But until next time, INTP Rob signing off.